I had a question on, now that you bring that up. You're saying that most launches are followed by a dump, and I guess the reason for that is because buy the rumor, sell the news, right? Um, Johnny talked about this on the show last time. The
No.
prospect of the stealth launch, which would, on the one hand, it would prevent a buy the rumor, sell the news, so maybe we won't have such a big dump. But on the other hand, I countered and I said also you have to keep in mind the marketing, like big payday. A lot of people came in because of big payday, and even though there was a dump, it brought in a lot of new onboards. And also, yeah, people like green candles. So the hype of it, not only marketing, but it would drive the price up to maybe the point where even a dump would still keep us in the green. So what do you think? Do you think it will be a stealth launch? And would you prefer? Do you think a stealth launch is more beneficial?
Well, I'll start with a dump is not guaranteed,
That's true.
right? So it's not guaranteed it'll dump, and it's going to make a difference how things come together, right? So what does that mean? I got Pulse. A lot of people have Pulse, right? So just in general, we're in the Pulse ecosystem. So are they more heavy-handed holders or are they more like dumpers? Well, great many of them are more like holders, not dumpers, right? So you might have that aspect. Kind of a stealth kind of a launch. In my mind, when you say that, confirm this for me, you just mean not a lot of fanfare in advance. So we're not going to have like a long tail leading, or I don't know if it's tail.
No announcement. It's just
Hey,
we launched, so nobody could. If there's an announcement, people could buy up hex and then dump it.
yeah. So that may create an increased amount of FOMO, which would drive people to go up, and buy up more in price. But I think within our ecosystem, there ain't no way to tell what's going to happen, because remember the overall value. This is probably one of the measures we'll end up talking about at some point is total value locked on. Maybe it won't be considered a lock, but this is where possibly market cap would be useful. We start talking about Pulsechain in general, because I think what you're going to see is at least a three-way seesaw between Hex, PulseX, and Pulse. Price-wise. Okay, what do I mean? They're all going to be tied really tightly together, really tightly together. But that doesn't mean that one won't go up while another one goes down. It's going to have all to do with the ratios, and those things will be correcting themselves. And so, yeah, I think, in that case, I think I'm going to be really interested overall whether or not we're retaining value within Pulse or it's leaving. But like for instance, I'm in the market for more Hex, right? So if I get a chance to swap, particularly before things are priced into Hex, I'm going to swap into Hex. And then I know somebody else who's saying exactly the same thing about Pulse from PulseX, right? And then you have all the guys who bought Hex with the idea that they were going to swap into Pulse. So things are going to be quite interesting, I think,
But
that way.
yet, you're saying you don't know with regard to the stealth launch, but do you think it is more or less beneficial? That's if you're Richard Hart.
I think it's probably less beneficial overall for others, but for our community, it's more beneficial. And,
Why?
and what I mean by that is because it'd be less folks coming in, jumping in late, and gives our people the opportunity, right, to be in place and doing what they want to do. They've already been following it for a year or longer. They've made that investment, in time, of understanding what's going on. Yeah. So, anyways, that's what I'm thinking, because having less outsiders jumping around in and out of the system causing havoc might be useful to me.
But
I
but if,
hadn't really put a lot of thought to this.
but if we all have hex, which we should, not financial advice.
Mhm.
All these guys jumping in, that would hurt them more than us, maybe, because we already have the hex.
Yep. Well, yeah, but I mean, denying them knowledge of it means they come later, which means
Yeah.
they're always going to get a worse deal. So that's what I mean about them. But that
Mhm.
might be okay for me, right?
Yeah.
That's why it might be better, okay for me that they don't all run in.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know how really to answer with this. That's a fair thing or not, but.
Yeah, I guess it's better because we get to accumulate more, and they have to come in later. But
I think it's going to be, what's going to end up happening. It's going to be bound by what's possible. That's all. I mean, when, who knows how fast once we light the fuse, how fast things go. If there's time, I'm sure the word will get out. If there's not enough time, then fewer people will know. It'll just be the way it is.
but
But
you're
I don't think it's going to be like, hey, let's do a quarter four, announcement, and we're gonna build up to it like a campaign. I don't think that's happening.
mhm. Okay, so that makes sense. I guess the question is though, marketing though, marketing. It does create a buzz, and like I said, the big payday was very good for onboarding. Do you think, from a marketing standpoint, it would be good to announce?
Oh, yeah, certainly. But remember, we have no organization. There's no company. And so what does marketing look like? Marketing looks like, the dev team, Richard's team, somebody announces they're going to do something. And then Richard goes on streams, that's marketing. And then all the rest of us hear that Richard said that something's happening, and then we go start talking about it. So that's marketing, right?
Yeah,
Um, so it's not like there's a plan and a budget and a team, right? It's going
yeah,
to be viral as hell.
yeah.
Um,
Because of TikTok.
that's how, yeah, because of TikTok, right? That's probably how the most people will find out about it, right?
Sure.
Um, yeah. So I think, I think I think in the end, yes, it's going to need to be, I think the more marketing that gets done, even if it's from individuals, right, the better we'll all be off with it,
So,
right? The better the launch, the more users, the more eyeballs.
so you're a yes on the telegraphing the launch day, like we're launching in 1 week, kind of thing.
Yeah, I would expect
Set your
I,
affairs
I,
in order.
I would expect nothing less as a community member, right? I
Okay.
mean, we haven't done this in the past this way, so I don't think it's going to happen this way. It would really suck for there to be insiders who know when the launch is. Now, of course, there's limits to how, because there's people that are devs that are part of teams, but they're under contract perhaps, or maybe they're under NDA. I don't know.
Mhm.
But it would really suck if there was like a group of people who knew exactly when things were going to happen, and then we're able, the rest of us are left out in the cold.
Yeah, no,
That
that would
would,
also be like regulatory, like that could
yeah,
be.
I suppose, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't think that would happen. I think just a lot of people are going to be left out of in the cold, being that they just don't know about it because they don't have hex. Um,
Right. Well,
that's
we've been telling people for a long time, right?
they don't listen. They don't listen. They don't listen until it's too late. But lucky for them, they could stake it, and they'll probably be in the green after a couple of years.